Hey guys, it's LSuperSonicQ here with the 5th episode in the clay tutorial series. So that's pretty cool actually, knowing how long it takes me to do tutorials, but I really felt motivated to do this one right now, so I thought why not just do it now instead of waiting and then forgetting about making it. So I actually forget who requested this one. It's just slipped my mind, but I will put on the screen who actually did request this, so thank you for this request. And it's Modern Espio. So just like always, don't know how many parts this is going to be. Probably shouldn't be too many, but I'll take you step by step how to sculpt them. Got my Sonic here instruction manual right here, which I'm going to use for reference because I actually don't sculpt Modern Espio, but I have not sculpted him in a very long time, so this is going to be quite challenging, probably. And then I got my really old school blocks of clay that I have not bought any more of these for a while, so I don't think we'll have to any color substitute at all, though. So without further ado, let's start part 1. Alright, so Modern Espio. Just like all the other clay models we've sculpted so far, I'm going to sculpt them at a smaller scale, but you could sculpt them as big as you really wanted, depending upon how much clay and time and everything like that you had. So I'm actually going to, I'm going to try to sculpt them how I remember sculpting them, maybe with some adjustments, but first, just like always, make a small ball out of clay. And yes, I did say ball. Why? Because a ball is a shape, okay? So, make it. I guess I'll make it like this size. And then the first thing you'll notice about Modern SPO is like how, I don't know, the old school SPO. I don't know. I feel like you got to put the spikes, or not his spikes, but his weird whatever you call those little things on his head and like the back of him. But for Modern SPO, I've always kind of had this urge to put it like in front of him. So that's what we're gonna do. And this is probably all gonna roll down because I'm on like a sloped surface, but um, what I would probably do is sculpt a really flat, like I don't know, just flatten this out and make it really deep. You know what I'm saying? Because then we're gonna put the ball right in there, so that creates the back of his head, but it also creates the whatever you call those shapes or whatever that are on the tops of his heads and sides. They're not spikes. I need a Sonic anatomy terminology book because I'm just not getting this down right. So I guess you could sculpt into a triangle, actually. That might work the best. And then kind of just, I don't know, you may need to even some stuff off. And stuff. Just to make it look a little better. Alright. Then once you got it good enough, you can kind of put it behind him and then kind of push him into it. So that essentially creates the top. There is some sculpting, or some molding I should say, that's going to have to go on because yeah, this is probably far from perfect, but you're going to have to just kind of work with it and again use the artwork or whatever. I'm using the Sonic Heroes type one because that was like, I think, yeah, that was the first game where we really saw Modern SPO. So, but all Modern SPOs really look the same now, so just kind of do that. I'm kind of going to do this to my liking, and then I'll be back in a sec. New technique I just discovered right now. So as I was trying to mold around the circle, what you might want to do as well, instead of just working with the the triangle part, is you can actually feel it from the top here. So you can kind of push the clay around it. So see, it creates, I don't know how well you can, but it creates a circle pattern, so that'll really help when we do the face. So, alright, so this is probably as good as we're going to get it for right now. There might be some tweaking involved later on, there probably will be, but for right now, I'm going to leave it like this. And we're going to put the face on because it's bothering me how this really doesn't look like SPO at the moment. But hopefully it will once we put on the face and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And the purple actually doesn't make your hands too bad, so you probably don't need to wash them or anything like the red, like when you use like the red and stuff. So the eyes are just like all the other Sonic characters in their weird shape. But because of using Sonic Heroes artwork and that type of thing, SPO's horn is kind of, it's like right, it almost acts like a nose. Which is actually how I used to draw it way back when, before I actually used artwork when I drew my pictures. Like back around when the game came out, I thought it was his nose. So we probably should put that little yeah, you know, I'm gonna put the little his mouthpiece on first. I know I kind of just like said we were gonna do the eyes, but you always discover that things work out better and they work better as you do them. So I think it would be easier if we put the little mouthpiece on first. So just like all the others, long, and then kind of just flatten it. Espio doesn't have a huge mouthpiece, so it doesn't need to be that big. But remember our whole clay depth thing. So if you have a piece that's really thick, then it's going to stick out a lot. So you don't want it to be too thick either. And you want it to be kind of going to look right. So it's a pretty good mouthpiece for right now. Again, we will be tweaking this whole triangle thing a bit later, but not for right now. Alright, so let me just move the camera. My tripod is really like messed up and stuff, and it's hard to do this in a position where it's like where I can like really get in front of the camera and show you guys right. So just like we did with the mouth thing, we're doing the first eye now, and it's a long. Again, just start with a longish sort of shape, and then just flatten it out. And as you flatten it, curve it up into an eye. So, like that. And then we can put on, obviously this is probably too big, but you get where I'm going with it, so then just take a little bit off. And then once you think it's a pretty good size, I think it's a pretty good size. Espio has really big eyes anyway. You can kind of just mold it onto the face, so like that. Looks pretty nice right there. So now we're going to leave some space in the middle of his face for the horn, because again I said that it kind of splits his eyes, but same thing now. Just make the long snake-like thing, flatten it, and then just mold it. And you want, and now because you're adding another eye, you want to make sure it's the same size and shape, or else it looks stupid. So that looks pretty good. Fix this up a little bit, because Espio has like a weird head and stuff. Well, all Sonic characters do, but I mean, Espio especially, because you gotta pay attention to where everything wraps around and stuff, so it looks good. I think that looks pretty good for the moment. Alright, so we'll put the horn on now, I guess. It's kind of odd how we're building the face first. Usually what I do in these clay models is I construct like the head and then start the body before I do the face, but we're kind of adding everything to the face now because that shape was really bothering me. So should we do the horn? I think we'll add the horn last, actually. We'll leave the eyes. For this one, I'm just going to... What color eyes does Espio have? Anybody know? I think they might be goldish. Well, I'm just going to do that for this, I guess. So, a little bit. You don't want a whole lot. And we'll make him exactly like the artwork. We'll make him look looking to the side. So you want a little yellow. And again, you're just taking a little, even smaller than that. Little tiny bit, rolling it and just flattening it. Then you're putting it over the color. And it does add a nice like quality. It's just very minute, but it's really like it ends up looking a lot better than you think if you add the little colors behind the eye and stuff. And I guess this would be, because I didn't really measure that too well, this would be, well, a good indication to see. Look at how far his eye is from the actual clay. It's sticking out, so that's why you got to make sure that you make sure that there's not a whole lot of thickness. I'm not going to go back and change it, but now you guys can see that. You should be careful about that depth that nobody is thinking about. That was a tongue twister. And then as we did with the shadow, and I've been kind of putting on and off for the past, like, 30 seconds, just take a really small circle. You can't even see it. It's in my hand. And put it on the eye, that just little shine that most Sonic characters or video game characters have. It just does add a little bit more quality that really ends up showing. So that was one eye. I don't want this to go on for too long. You saw one eye. It's exactly the same for the other eye. I'll show exactly where we're going to put this, the coloring on the eye at first, and then you guys can just, again, put the black over it and then a little shine. So because it's going to be looking this way, we got to put it right on the bottom. And you can kind of probably,
Yeah, you kind of gotta just use your judgment, but I'd say about right there is fine, because
you don't want the horn to be blocking it, but you don't want it right like way over here, so he has like a derp face. So I think that's a pretty good spot for right now. All right, let me put the little black thing in the shine on, and then we'll get moving.